So Doug, you can sit down. Just sit down on the couch. Me and Andrew are gonna eat. I'm just eating for the first time, so I'm super hungry. So ah,
This surprised me. Hey, finally.
You really did a great job on the bookshelves. You're looking much better. Did Divine help you?
I have no idea about this one.
Definitely.
I was home. I have to take it to the sun now. It's a big surprise. Oh, finally. I'm just happy. Still Christmas. Yes, what a cheer.
Yeah, I can fix that.
You can fix it?
It's easy to fix.
Oh,
Everything's still good. Just the glue joints need a little sand. They're crazy to put in.
oh.
But I think it's worth doing because if you leave it too long, it'll just get worse.
Oh, yeah. That me wait and sitting that explode.
But you always want to spot it.
Oh.
But it's not hard. You just go to the room and let it
I don't just want to wait in the rocket chair, no.
It's a nice enough chair, but to make it wasn't that easy. First of all, it's solid wood. It's not cheap. It's all this had to be turned on a lathe,
Yeah.
and it's an interesting straight. This is contoured a little bit. These all turned on a lathe. It's
I forgot to tell you, I made the ratatouille as well. Oh, it was so good. I left out one part or one ingredient, I guess I should say, just for a holiday thing. But I'm warming it up right now to take 5 minutes in Andrea's microwave, so you give it a taste. But yeah, the ribs. This is my first time doing ribs. The crown roast. I think I need to. They didn't tell me about how to glaze the outside properly, eh, Andrea? Like the
Oh.
recipe didn't let me know how to do that. Because look at how pale that is, right?
Feel,
So
yeah.
should probably same way I glaze the turkey.
Yeah.
I probably need to other step is to glaze this as well. But I've never made it before, and they left it out. So this is an Indian chai tea that I've been taking, Andrea. It's
Okay.
really good. So just take one of those. Doug, would you like some tea? We're just having some tea.
um,
No, not right now because we're not ready for that. But I'm just gonna get the water. So
just my hands. You did a really great job on the bookshelves. And why did Divine help you to do that?
no,
You did
nobody
all
helped me do anything. Pretty much, I just swept the floor. Here she swept.
Because they look really great now.
No, I just
They could be even better, but they're so much better than they were. It's just incredible.
I just had a lot of pull. I was just like praying and pulling and pulling and praying.
I'm wondering if we could pull the filing cabinet this way, but put them right against the wall so the wall would support the tall bookshelves.
We could. There's a lot of things we could do, but I
Okay,
couldn't
okay,
actually
now we'll
move
have to
it
do
by
it.
myself. You know,
Yeah.
like I was afraid that
Oh.
I was afraid. Let me tell you
Together,
something. Yeah. So,
Divine and
but I just wanted to. This is just a recap of what happened yesterday. Let me get the tea in here.
Okay. Sister,
Yeah.
this map was for you, you know. This is always right.
Here, okay.
Oh.
Are you gonna have milk?
No, I'm not trying without milk.
No, this. You're supposed to have this with milk and with sugar.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
So,
Okay, no problem. Okay.
yeah. So, what I wanted to get to say. Sorry?
3 stockings.
So that one is Divine. This one is Andrea. This is Nicholas's cat.
Oh, it's the one with the A. Yes, the one with the A.
That's Nicholas's cat. So, 1 second. Oh, you didn't see yours yesterday, Aunt Jan?
No. Doesn't it?
No, your stocking.
I don't even notice.
Sorry, guys. I'm hungry.
I know.
Okay, so so this is bread pudding, and what you do with bread pudding. Well, I actually couldn't. Did your mom used to make bread pudding, Doug? Oh,
I've
because
heard of it.
it's usually get it at like restaurants and stuff. But you're supposed to put, and it's supposed to be soaking in the custard right now. So this is not
Oh,
how it's supposed to look
really?
at all, or how it's supposed to be at all right now. Actually.
Oh, okay.
It's supposed to be sitting in a pan full of custard. And now I bought a can of custard, and I thought that it would be better than my custard because it's called Devonshire, but it's not. It's not. I could make a better custard. I like the flavoring because it doesn't have like I get to put what I guess whatever flavor I like in mine, which would be like a nutmeg or
I've
whatever.
very seldom found that bought products are as good as in all categories. But may I run and get my meetings, give Anna her meds,
Okay.
sign off on the computer, those 3 to 4 minutes, and I'll be back.
And this one doesn't. I think it's like watered down instead of using milk. It's like a lot of water.
Okay.
But my ancestors are from Devonshire,
Oh,
on my mother's side. That's where, in fact, my sister's been over to live with me.
oh, wonderful. So we're eating some of his ancestors, his family. Anyways, you guys are driving me out to do that.
It's tasty.
What did he say? What did he do?
I don't like people. Oh, I don't want understand. I pick up and there.
He said that just now?
This is them. I said, for
Oh.
really six of them doing that. Some of them doing that. What? You see me going outside. This is the time I wake up and
Did you bring your mic there?
no. I'm not upset. Okay, I'm happy because I'm alone, you know. But otherwise, I listen to this. I just don't like things like that. Okay, please. And what I want, I never want to come. But you know what? It's you come about church.
No.
Or I sit amongst people.
What I wanted to say about Jesus now.
Yeah, talk about Jesus. Talk about this. That is what I'm saying.
What I want to say about Jesus is that even though honestly, I can't think properly right now. I'm too hungry. I can't think properly right now. I'm too hungry.
Yeah, seriously, look at you, okay?
So this
Oh,
is
you
how, I'll
opened
show you.
already?
Let me show you how this.
Oh, so I don't know what this is. Sorry.
I'll put yours. I'll make yours in a second. Just showing you how how you do it and then
Okay.
how it's supposed to work. And I've been to Indian people's house before. Like in a jug or something, you know?
In a job?
Yeah, like a thermos.
Really? Someone sometimes I can't keep you on. It's a problem. It's a problem, you know?
I usually have a spoon in here already, but because of yesterday.
Oh, no. Oh, don't forget my sugar by you.
Oh, you have sugar?
Your sugar, yes.
I have sugar at your place?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of sugar?
The white sugar. In the uncle is the purple clear, but the top is red. Remind me. Okay?
I'm looking for sugar. So what kind of sugar is this?
The white sugar.
Is it in this
Mm-hmm.
package?
Yeah, but if you throw it in a bottle,
Oh, it's in a bottle.
yeah, that's
How
your
long was
sugar.
it at your place for?
Long time.
Oh, that's the tea there. You see? Tea India.
Okay. Oh.
Okay. All right. So let's. So I wanted to show you the tree. So that's the tree.
Amen.
I wanted to take your reaction, but did I? I don't think I did.
Oh, I come in here, I like,
I'm like, don't you notice anything?
then I'm looking like, I never noticed anything. Mm, mm. You know, just wake up too. This is good. I'm sorry. This is good for celebration.
Didn't you notice anything?
No,
But then when you looked up,
like what? No, sister, this is the best Christmas gift. You know what? It's still Christmas. Remember,
I haven't done gifts yet.
sister,
Huh?
I call it Christmas gift.
Okay.
It,
That one there is for Lori. You see the big chocolate thing there? That's the one I did to
nice. You know that.
her. So I'm gonna dig into this, and then I'm gonna have some turkey with this because I feel like having some turkey
Yeah, man.
with it.
Just come across a sister. I can't
Oh, maybe we should say a grace, but I'm so hungry. Okay, Andrea.
Father God,
Mm-hmm.
I thank you for another day. This is the day you have made, Father God. Thank you for putting us together once again for this special occasion, Father God. Thanking you right now, Father, for a day we will never forget, Father. So, thank you for your Son Jesus, who was born on Christmas Day, who was amongst us, Father God. In Jesus' name, I pray, amen. I'm just waking up.
Me too. Me too. I'm hardly awake. I'm so tired right now. And I just wrote Kenton because everybody.
Oh, you're done with him?
Oh, I wrote him a letter. Mm, 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 mm.
That's wasted man.
This is my favorite thing.
Can't imagine. You know what? I'm gonna put this knife and fork now.
Mm.
That is
I did have some cranberries to put with it. Have that healthy.
if this is an apartment, I never smell nothing like it. I sleep.
No, you're just used to it. You're used to me being there cooking.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah, I do.
But you weren't used to it.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
So the whole place was smelling of cinnamon and vanilla.
Excuse me?
Mm-hmm. And I was like, you're sleeping there. I'm like, this does not smell that amazing smell.
Don't remind me. I'm not a baby. Jeez. Okay, you understand? My mom tell me about me a baby. What happened? So you get it now? Hmm?
Mm.
Wait. You could have been kidding me, right?
What? Can you what?
Is someone a cinnamon? I'm never someone nothing. I also in the dreamland.
I need a lighter to like the candle.
Mm-hmm.
When that comes back on. What I
Yeah.
keep there's something that I need over here, but I keep on forgetting what it is. Oh, the cranberries. Anyway, yeah, so what I wanted to say about Jesus, I thought, oh, remember that part that I read from Revelation?
Yeah.
I'll have to read it again.
Okay. Is it
My dog.
My routine things, because real hot, heat it up.
For the house of living in a second.
Once you take these and this was the, scriptures.
Oh, you put it together and then you made it like a rice. Okay. Just looking for my Bible. Okay, I think it's Revelation 13 or 14. I'm gonna get the turkey out. Did you want some of this or do you want the turkey?
I don't get a taste it. Nothing to fight.
Oh, I
Do
don't
you
know.
have any salt on the juice?
Salt? Yes, yes. You got it. Sorry, it's in the fridge here. Let me put it. I don't know how much of this is just sawdust and how much is actually.
You would mind.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry.
Just in case.
Oh, and I have to get you some ratatouille. It's in Andrew's microwave right now.
Oh, well, that was Stevie's.
Let me just read. Uh, Bible's drinking too much coffee. Oh, goodness. Okay, here it is. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. And she, being with child, cried, travailing in birth, and pain to be delivered. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. And she brought forth a man child, who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron. And her child was caught up unto God and to his throne. And the woman fled into the wilderness. So this is just illustrating and I think mapping out and telling a story of how hard it is just, this was just to be born.
Mhm.
The dragon was there. So it says, it says, and his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven, and he cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to deliver, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. So Jesus was born in problems, and we're always crying about this problem and that problem. But Jesus, Jesus had some problems.
Yes.
Like they didn't want him to be born. You know,
No, they didn't. No.
it was the world was against him, and how was the world against him? They had no hotel, nowhere for him to even, nowhere, no monetary. He should be in a palace being born, but
Exactly.
there he was in the feeding trough of the animals. Because when God loves you, when God accepts you, when God calls you, you're not going to be a part of the world.
No, you're
You're
not.
not going to be a part of the devil's system.
Mm.
So from his birth, Jesus was very far away from Babylon. Jamaicans are so right. They have it so right with the whole Babylon system thing, and they're the ones that popularized that term and
Is
made
it
that
Babylon or Buffalo?
Babylon system. They call it. I don't want to be part of Babylon system. Babylon, Babylon.
I thought this was
They
Buffalo.
call they
Okay.
call the Western world Babylon system, meaning Babylon, understanding Babylonian and understanding the devil and his whole
What?
story and all of that stuff. So, and a lot of sayings that are old are deep, deep history and understanding. Um, that's what I hate
Oh.
with the sayings of today and the literature and the language of today. It has no deep understanding attached to it at all, you know? So, but, it's a miracle that we even got here. We have to battle through Babylon system wants to devour us through stuff that we have to make it through being aborted, being this, being that. You know what I mean? We have to make it through that in order to be here.
Yeah, it's true.
We come here with a fight, and then we expect to be just coasting, relaxing, and okay. But we came here. It was a fight for your life.
Yeah, it's a community on earth.
So it's such a privilege, such a wonder, such we're indebted to just the opportunity to be here.
Yeah. See? That's it.
Doug,
And
do you
it's
have
real
any
time
thoughts?
too,
Oh,
eh? You have to grab the baby before the dragon can strike.
how exactly did he not devour Jesus? I don't know. Let me see how that happened. And she brought forth a man child who was to rule all nations with the rod of iron, and her child was caught up into heaven. Also, basically, God saved the day or whatever. He made the catch. He worked his magic. It's not magic though. But
No, he knew the dragon was there.
he knew the dragon was there, but maybe he used like a cloud. Because if you're caught up into heaven, it's got to be like a cloud, or if you're visualizing it, some sort of a cloud that catches him up before
The dragon
the dragon
got it.
gets him. I guess.
It's in there. Oh!
This is Revelation, right? This is the end
Oh, excuse me.
of the Bible.
Excuse me.
Sometimes I think what's the source God so is almost winning, and
Yeah.
If
You're
you try on your own
Mm-hmm.
to fight against it, what you do is so obvious and transparent to a supernatural creature like the devil that you could never beat him. The only way that there can be victory is if God somehow hands it off to you at the moment, and you do it so fast that the devil hasn't got time to figure out what
Yeah.
the next move is. This is why we're so helpless as individuals if we separate ourselves from God, because on our own uh, we are just like complete chumps to the devil. He could see what our little schemes and plans are, even as the virtuous ones. So I really think that you have to deal with the devil. You have to have immediate, direct help from God or angels. Otherwise, on your own, the devil, no matter, even you start what seems like a really good project to help the poor or something, the devil will see it and will turn it around on you unless some kind of divine intercession to keep you from falling into that trap.
Yeah.
You can still go ahead with good things, but you can't just do it on your own. You won't succeed as an individual.
Amen. Dog, you miss me.
Yeah, we never heard you speak of spiritual things before, so
Dog,
we
dog,
didn't think you had that understanding.
you're waking me up now. Amen.
Or revelation or anything like that. So
I'm
I guess you
happy.
can still, but
What?
Phil, you fall back into thinking,
yes,
rational
yes.
terms.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow we're not alert to. There was all sorts of interceptions like that. There was a dream that the wise men had that told them not to go back to Herod.
Yeah, yeah,
What? Is this
yeah.
my dog? Is this my dog Wilson? Nothing romantic.
Pretty variable. Pretty variable based on different others. It went through so many phases in my life, different things. When I was going to Sunday school, I had teachers like Michelle. I believed in God. But when I was 14, I stopped believing, and stayed like that until I was partway through university, and then I didn't do well there because I was too selfish. There's some atheists who are unselfish, and they're dedicated to a noble cause, and I think that gains them something. But I wasn't. I was just interested in myself and my prestige and how I was going to get good marks and be famous and all that. And I wasn't thinking about helping the world at all. I was just thinking about my own success and to make a good impression. And I think that's why I failed, because it didn't sustain interest. And I flunked out because I got into drugs. And but then on drugs, after a while on LSD, I got overwhelmingly religious. I was living a complete fantasy world where everything was magical. And so I went through that, and then I stopped using drugs, and then but I still continued to absolutely believe in God. Um, I had questions in my mind like, how did God ever manage to arrange to get all the bad people on an airplane before it crashed, so only the bad people were killed? And I was so convinced after drugs of ideas like that. It took me a long time to get normal again, at all now. And I still like that. Like I flicker back and forth between different states of, how I was in the past and going into that. So I know I can improve. But I lived on faith with drugs for quite a while. I went hitchhiking with $100, and I hitchhiked to New York and then to San Francisco, and then to Vancouver, and I picked up an extra $5 in San Francisco from a friend. It helped to total my money. I didn't have much left in the bank. And I just traveled and I met people, other hippies who were into LSD. And so, they would put me up for a while and then we'd do some things together maybe and then go on traveling. Uh, a lot of hippies went out to San Francisco that year. It was a very big meeting of the tribes. Uh,
Was there a festival or something?
Often one, Rolling Stone, somebody got shot, but no, I didn't go to that. It's called the Summer of Love, at Ashbury district in San Francisco, which was the black district, became the center of the hippie movement. And that summer, uh, the uh, the hippies thought that they were going to be able to bring peace to the world, and they changed the consciousness of everybody, because when you're high on LSD, you sort of all full of love, and you don't feel any hate. You thought to get everybody grooving like that would end wars. And,
Do you want to speak?
pardon?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just kidding.
I'm talking about myself.
No.
But anyway,
I hear you. Stop,
No, so
stop.
you're talking about your journey. Your journey. This is your journey.
We are listening.
This is this journey of being born. It's the same journey.
Okay, Doc, can you continue?
Yeah, don't let me interrupt.
Doc, can you please continue? We are listening.
Oh, okay. The other thing that was wrong with me, that I told you at university, I was concerned with my own success. In the hippie movement, I was concerned with my spiritual success, that I would become virtually God's right hand man, that by enough meditation, enough concentration, enough devotion, that I would rise high in the universe. I had no great commitment to problems like people are starving to death in India. I was just worried about my own soul, how well I was going to do myself.
Mhm.
If I was going to really reach higher spiritual awareness and a cosmic consciousness, if I was going to commune with God, things like that were important to me. I didn't care. I didn't even consider thinking about other people, how society was doing and so on. So now I've completely changed. I don't think that the drug thing works. At least it doesn't work for me. It might work for some people. I saw some hippies who were into community, who were very loving people, but they were ones who were sort of artistic. They were dancers. They were musicians. They were artists. Those kind of people seemed to handle the experience much better than I did. I was very hard-edged, engineering, technical kind of guy. And to throw me into that, I think it flipped my consciousness from one side of the brain to the other and became artistic. But it didn't work because it didn't have the background that these people did. I watched them dancing. It was incredible how beautifully they danced. Better than any straight people I've ever seen. I don't mean like compa or something sexy. It was very graceful, but it wasn't formal. It was all improvised. We used to have light shows in gymnasiums or festivals and parks. And I was really thoroughly impressed by it, but I could never do it myself.
Right.
I couldn't do it. So I think that maybe LSD or mushrooms or peyote, maybe or hashish, maybe that works for some people. They can handle it. They groove with it. They make it work. They love each other. They love community. But there's some people that really
Well,
fail.
the
Some people they
science.
kill
I
themselves.
remember I've been studying. My thing is the brain, and we study all day what's happening to the brain and dopamine depletions, and they even warned us.
Serotonin
Hold on a second.
depletion.
Hold, no,
Serotonin depletion.
hold on, listen. They even warned us not to have too much fun in one, not to layer our own fun, because it would, the way that it would I'll just put in
Yeah,
lay
we
terms,
reward
the
oriented.
way that it would destroy our brains to have too much um, uh, dopamine release. Um, Serotonin is just a neighbor who helps dopamine, but it's hard to explain dopamine in actual scientific terms because the way that people view dopamine is not actually the way it's supposed to be viewed. It's a little bit more. It's a lot more complicated than that. Obviously, it's not just um, a happy chemical that comes to your brain, or
Well, as Curtis said, it's not happy chemical, it's pleasure chemical. If you want happy, then what you want is serotonin.
the pleasure is okay. All right, you know, Doc. I'll just let you go. But anyways,
Well, I just-
what these things actually do to the brain is actually um, not good. I'll put it that way.
But the head doctors are doing research now on treating people back from the war with PTSD with psilocybin mushrooms, and they are succeeding.
No, they're
Saving
succeeding
some.
in trying to help that, but they know what the side effects are. Could you do it without this number?
Sure, if you don't know when you buy it on the street, there may be meth laced in with it.
Exactly. So it's a and that's the thing. So what the scientists are doing are trying to control for this thing. But remember, with all medications, there are side effects, and with um,
I'm not recommending LSD. I'll
Yeah.
never take it again.
yeah, no, I'm not saying that you are. I'm just saying.
I can't handle it.
There's a
I'd say
lot.
some people maybe.
No, sorry. This
Certainly some
on a
people better
different
than
note, the ratatouille, the container it was in completely melted in the microwave, and a lot of the sauce is gone. So I'll put a little bit in your container, okay? What's left? So what part of your journey were you on? You said that.
Well, I guess recovering from LSD, what I did, okay, I realized at some point that what I was doing was wrong. It's when after I uh, assaulted my girlfriend for nothing. Um, so I went back to live with my parents, and I tried to kill myself with tranquilizers that had been prescribed. I took them all, and then I got my stomach pumped. And then my parents helped me put together. I shoved a lot of snow that winter. It was up to 8 feet tall in the front yard. Uh, and I did things like that. And I slowly started to become to be normal. And I got to the point where I could build another airplane again, which I wasn't able to do when I was it was just too stoned to do stuff like that. And the plane flew and it was all right. I gradually got my ordinary consciousness back together. But I went into meditation, transcendental meditation with Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. I think that was really beneficial for me. I used to go to the meetings of the Meditation Society, and they were very nice people there. And we would discuss life and how what was right action. It was it helped me a lot. Uh, the the idea, one of the ideas was is to release stress, and I guess if you build up a lot of stress from rough experiences in your previous years, you could use meditation to release those stresses. I think it helped quite a bit. I finally left meditation because it started getting too far out for me. They were getting into levitation and magical stuff and yoga powers, and I decided I didn't want that. So now I'm just um, what I said about God's instant help came from trying to figure out why evangelists were saying that you could not possibly do good unless you were born again in Christianity or in Jesus. That no matter if you tried to do good, it wasn't going to work. You could make donations, you could do that too. None of that was going to help. And I could never. To me, that didn't seem to be fair because there's a lot of other religions. Maybe a Muslim can't do good unless he's saved in Jesus, or a Chinese person never heard of Jesus can't do good. So I couldn't quite accept that. But my only explanation for it could be that maybe the trouble is when you try to do good, if you're not hooked up with God, whether it's in Christianity or some other religion, your super rational philosophy isn't necessarily going to work because things are happening so fast, and your sort of plans and all that are sort of transparent to the devil. Not that I don't even really believe in the devil, but it's just kind of I'm trying to put my ideas together somehow, or my feelings, but I do have a feeling that just being very sincere and nice doesn't always work. That
Doesn't ever actually. And it seems that like there's something actively thwarting the actions
like the Red Dragon.
of those who are good and nice and kind. You know, it's like a little piece of it. It's pork. It's okay. For my first crown roast, but it's not. It's not a chuck beef. I have the chuck beef here. It's not a chuck beef, and it's not the turkey. The turkey was. I like the turkey. I like the sweet and sour sauce that was on it.
Yeah.
So I just poured it all on.
But sister,
So grab your thing. You got it?
the food is good, man. Yeah.
You like it?
Yeah, sister. Listen, don't complain about food. Yeah? Be grateful. Yes. A lesson learned for me.
Well,
I never got sister. I still a lot of food. I don't know.
it's a learn. It's and it's a learning lesson even for Christians, even those who accept Christ, because that's the one thing that separates us from Muslims. I know for sure is the fact that with Muslims you work your way to heaven. It's through your good merit, right? But Christians, the understanding is you could never. You could try, and that's great to try. God loves an earnest heart, but um, He sent His Son because the whole world was just on a bad trajectory. And when you learn what you learn in science about um, mirror neurons and habituation, stuff like that, it makes sense, You're just too far gone from doing, you're just in a, you're in a cycle, it's a cyclical thing. Even, I think that the stars and all of that really explain our trajectory to the, trajectory to hell, ultimately, because without divine help, there's no way out of it. Um, but even Christians, okay, so they have that leap of faith and believe in God, and that's one thing. But then for their everyday life and everything that they're doing, that's a whole other thing. It's like, okay, I believe there's a God, But what does that have to do with anything? You know, I still got to get up for work every morning. I still have to, you know, I still have to this, that, and the third. And to see it in your everyday life or to understand how God works in your everyday life is very hard for a Christian, actually. So that's why it's like every Christian can relate to any non-Christian because not that we're in the same boat, but the line is so thin that it's like it's not even visible. It's translucent. Like we can just, like we're battling the exact same things. You know, a lot of people say, "Oh, you're a Christian. You should never be depressed. You should never have a bad day. You should never cry. You should." And I hear this like even up to,
What?
I hear this even up to a few days ago. And it's just like, doesn't God just take everything away? Doesn't it's like it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. You have to work at being a Christian. You have to work at believing God for your emotions, for understanding that you can't, and you go through a long time of battling by yourself, being sincere, doing this, doing that, and then you just say, God, please help me. You find, and you're thinking, oh, I'm already a Christian. I should have already known that. But you believed in God. You believed in God to believe in Him, but not for your situation. You know, which is a whole integrated understanding. So even the Bible does say, work out your salvation um, day after day. And it's like, why do we have to work on this? Because it's really renewing our mind, slowly beginning to understand. Oh, okay. This is why I've been bumping my head in this wall for this long. So it's quite the same journey.
Evidently, then, is a chain, but uh, somebody asked him, uh, why don't you follow Jesus? He said, I try.
Mm-hmm.
They go in faith.
Hmm?
They try, but they go in faith. Faith. Don't give up. Keep burning. Don't give up. We pray. We may not get everything we want, but Father God has something bigger and better for us that we don't know. Only God knows. He knows that. He knows what we want already before we even pray, right? But whatever we want, we will ask my friend, we're praying for. Father God understands that as His children, we are His children. He wants us to be happy. We just have to wait for His timing. And sometimes He has the answer, yeah. It depends also what we're praying for. So in His timing, we often see miracle coming our way. Just with faith and belief. And that God has something better for me. I'm just wait. Don't think about it. Just do something else like clean up my place, do something to my life, read Bible, continue believing. I'll before you know it, that God is gonna send something bigger for us when we least expect it.
But yeah, it's also believing for or being grateful, understanding
Yeah.
um, how much He has come through for you. Because even this season, like I've always got my paycheck in at the right time. I never had to worry about, honestly, it's like Look at all the things that had to happen perfectly for me to not miss a paycheck. Or
Mm.
just putting together, I forgot what I was going to say, but putting together this thing too, and just like it wasn't, God would basically always put together something, it wasn't me because this is a lot of work. It's a lot of work to do the cooking. I never sent out invitations. I never purposely hosted, and the hosting thing is a complete, it can be a complete job, because you're supposed to get to people beforehand, and da da da. I didn't have any time for that. I never did anything, but somehow, to me, somehow we were all here and there was food and we did something nice for Christmas, and all the little parts that had to come together for that to work out perfectly. I couldn't have thought of that or really uh, consciously put that together. It almost didn't happen yesterday because of whatever. Even getting a tree, even just the simple things that we do that things have to, in order for things to manifest, in order for things to end up into reality, it's a long process. It's a hard process, an arduous process at times, and everything has to go right. Um, I almost got hit by a car the other day, pretty badly. Um, how many times have I crossed the road and praise be to God there wasn't a drunk driver on the other side of that white line that just hit, like, so it's just to be grateful for the little things.
I nearly got hit at Jonesville crossing.
Yeah.
The guy was texting. He didn't even see me, and he turned right. I was in the crosswalk, and just at the last minute, it was on me. The guys to stop. It's good, folks. And that was this one. The other day, I was riding my bicycle pharmacy, and I decided I'm going to turn left onto the bicycle path, onto the highway wires, and I'm going to do this really fast. And I was in the right lane, and I crossed the left lane. And I said, look, there's no cars. My mirror had a blind spot, and I nearly pulled out right in front of the guy. And the last saw him and got back, but he was close. He was very close. So I sympathize with you that kid, but drunk drivers, that's the worst. I mean, sometimes what can you do? As you were saying the other day about wasn't it this guy? Oh no, that was the PSW story. She saved a guy after 401. A lady came down the off ramp in the wrong lane. She somehow got her mind scrambled. She came down, she slammed into the car that was doing absolutely nothing wrong, coming up in the right lane, and killed it.
Ooh.
So, it's but yeah, a lot of things have to come together. I once heard this comment that for a person to exist, something like the sperm that fertilized the egg that made you was 1 in 1,000,000.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the fact that you're here is kind of a miracle because it could easily be another sperm wouldn't be you. So we all won the lottery. We're all champions.
We all won the lottery. Say that again.
Oh,
That's just one way of looking at it.
Yeah,
People being
well,
born is very common. So I've never had.
oh, well, actually, because I've been looking at, I don't know, a lot of people find that it's Professor Huberman, have you heard of him? I can't remember his first name. Oh, he's so dreamy, he's not married.
who's that man?
He's a neuroscientist. Um, Okay. But he alerts me to who's up and coming in the industry, and this guy was doing like is he's a physicist or no, not a physicist. He's a biologist, right? He studies the body, and he said so. The first question that Huberman asked him was, are we like duct taped together? Is this like a horrible mistake, or is this like a human body the best design? And this guy is a scientist, he's not a Christian or anything, no affiliation or divinity. A lot of these people are atheists. So and he's like, no, this is the way, like even from this is the best possible design that he could conceive of. The only thing he had a problem with is how close the breathing tube and the food tube are together, and how the wires can get, like things happen all the time. He said, which that it's just too close together. Uh, you have one thing go down the breathing tube, and then that's it. So he said that's besides that, our bodies are pretty much, as much as a scientist can say, pretty much a miracle. The design, like even everything, like our thumbs. And he was explaining how even a piece of the thumb throws your entire body off. Like you completely, if somebody cuts their thumb, they put it in milk right away, or put it to try to recover it, even just a little piece. If it's the rest of the fingers, it's okay, but the thumb especially because of what it does, like it's or like what like every little piece of our body is so useful and so intricate to the whole system. You know,
Is it all right to talk about evolution with you guys, or is that no?
For sure you can go ahead. Feel free.
Well, the reason why I want to talk about it is the fact that you like this, and even if you don't believe in it, still it's interesting. They studied in Ethiopia and Kenya uh, because there happened to be um, rivers that had cut through 3 million years of sediments. And down at the bottom, you can find fossils from 3 million years ago. And they were able to study the transition from ape to human. And one of the things you would be interested in about is that they think that what did it was love.
Love?
Yeah. Reproductive strategy of apes is different to most animals. Like an oyster might have 1 million eggs, sow them out, and maybe 5 or 6 survive. But an ape mother has one baby, and she looks after it for 5 years at least, minimum, before she has another baby. It needs that care, but she makes sure that one survives.
Mm-hmm.
She protects it. The oyster can't do anything like that itself, because it can't move anything, just throws the eggs out and hopes. But the ape mother does this. But the trouble with this is that she can only have a baby every 5 years or so. She won't even come into heat for 5 years after giving birth. So she's not having enough babies to compete.
Mm.
They're not keeping their population up. They're losing to predators at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So some apes apparently learned pair bonding. That the lady learned how to prolong her estrus for heat for maybe a few days at a time, and to keep a particular male interested in her. And gradually, this evolved to the point where uh, she was they were bonding as pairs. Instead of having a big mating orgy at heat, when the females come into heat, all the males pounce on them and all of them do as much as they can. And there's no, sort of organization too. The gorillas are different. The male gorilla fights to keep his women, and he won't let the others get anywhere near them. But occasionally he might have to go down to the river to get a drink of water, and then the others might, while he was away, fertilize his women. So but anyway, that's a different reproductive strategy. But it turned out that a branch of the family is developed pair bonding, and they fall in love. The lady would find a way to make herself attractive other than just her estrus signs. Her rear end was lit up or something like that. Instead of that, she'd find a way to just prevail in her total appearance and mannerisms and so on. So they would fall in love. One pair would actually love each other, and they would stay together for years. And that way, she had the help of the man. The man actually might bring her some food, which is unheard of in other areas. He might support her. And to do this, and what this did is it made the whole society a lot calmer because the males were no longer bashing their heads against each other to try and grab the women. They just settled down. They had their woman. That was all right. They weren't going to bother the other guy. He could have his woman. And so the society became more peaceful. They could cooperate. So they could cooperate. They might live together in a group of 30, and they would signal danger to each other. The woman could settle down instead of having to roam all over the trees, all over the forest to try and find food. When the group found some food, they tell her where she could go and get it. Or maybe her partner would go and get it and bring it forward while she was looking after the baby. To this end, it started to become advantageous to be able to walk on your hind legs because it gave you your hands free to carry the baby. And these apes started to be able to, after she had the baby for a year or two, she was ready to have another one. And she could look after 2 or 3 babies at a time. And she was starting to beat the other apes because they were only having one every 5 years. And so their population was growing. And other things went together with this, that when they learned to walk on their hind legs, which is about 3.5 million years ago, they were only 3 feet tall. They had their hands free, so they could carry food, they could carry the babies. And walking is actually an incredibly awkward way of doing things. A dog can easily outrun you. Anything on 4 legs can run and bite her. But you can walk as long as a dog. As long as you don't have to run away from the dog, you can walk just as long as the dog. So they were able to develop being able to walk on their hind legs. And they did find a fossil that proved that. Several fossils in Ethiopia had one. They found almost a complete skeleton of a lady called Lucy, who lived 3.5 million years ago, 3 feet tall. But she was the first ape they found that walked on hind legs. She's not a knuckle walker. She's not a brachiated like a gibbet from branch to branch. She walked, perfectly developed bipedal ape. And at that time, her brain was still small. She wasn't a genius. She didn't make tools, or her men didn't make tools. They were still apes, but they were pair bonded, and their reproductive strategy was superior to the other ones. They found a way out of the problem that you have to spend too much time looking after a helpless child by having several at once. So you could mass reduce them. So anyway, that's the story about how love won out over competition and fighting. And that's what the human race owes its origin to, according to this theory. And the studies they made of the development from fossil to fossil to fossil. It was only about 1 million years after Lucy that the men near humans, start to use tools and make tools. found on rocks that had been chipped, to make a sharp point.
Mhm.
And then later, maybe axe blades or arrowheads, things like that, spear points. And if you're walking on your hind legs, you can carry a spear. Once you're carrying a spear with a sharp stone point, you're not so afraid of tigers anymore. In fact, I've seen a video of black men in Africa hunting down lions. A lion killed one of their villagers,
Mhm.
and about 10 guys went out. It's just spears, and they killed the lion. They said they have to do that so the lions don't start getting overconfident. They have to,
Oh.
And it's
I know.
also a ritual for them. The rite of passage, a young man is supposed to kill a lion to become a man.
Well, I know. Well, a woman who, in the circumstance, in a straight of the situation, you'd be surprised what anybody could do. It depends on your adrenaline. It depends on. I know a woman who said she had to beat down a lion. So it depends on this amazing. Remember the woman who picked up the truck for her baby?
Truck was sitting on her baby.
Um, I'll have to Google it. I'll have to get the exact story, but um, it was a vehicle with a come or whatever, and mom just picked it up and saved her child. And everybody's like, it was scientifically impossible for her to lift that amount.
Yeah.
But to save her child, she would. So, but,
So I'm posted, so I'm too busy watching African movie when I go to look up information, but again, I don't know what to look up.
What do you want to look at?
I don't know what to look up because I'm too busy watching African movie. Africa movie. Yes, so I wouldn't know what to look up because this story is very impressive. But I have a phone and I don't have the laptop. I can't get it work because my darling never gave me the password. I have it. I think I have two Android in my laptop and I delete the wrong one. The one that I delete is the one that carry me in my password and I still not get it. So much things to look up. History. So much things in history that I should have known myself. But African movie is so educatable that I don't think I've looking up in history.
There's a lot of African information on videos on YouTube. A lot of Africans have posted versions of the history about what Africa was like before the white man came down and colonized. And Africa was a very highly advanced place compared to what you might imagine. The only thing they didn't have was guns. But
Good.
their culture, their society, uh, their organization, the extent of the civilization, the empires that came and went in Africa, very similar to the things that Europe went through as well. Um, there's a lot on YouTube about that. I've read, watched a lot of those videos because I'm interested in Anna and it got me interested in Africa. And I wanted to know, what did we white people do to Africa. I have a history book that you can read, which is a history of Africa, written by an American professor, very sympathetic way. There's things in ancient history that are kind of amazing that are neglected that we never learned in school. For instance, the indigenous peoples of North America had huge empires
oh yeah.
that existed, but were in decline at the time the white men were alive. They were cyclical in nature. Um, but at one time there was one single indigenous civilization that covered most of North America, and they had a religious ceremonial center down in the American South where people used to come to, like Mecca, for huge festivals and things like that. And we just don't learn about that. My impression of it was that there were just a lot of isolated tribes here and there. A few people up in Thunder Bay and some more in Timmins, but actually there was a huge interconnected, well-organized empire in the indigenous past, the way it was quite a bit before the white people came. Why it collapsed, they don't know. Maybe it wasn't. But I can look up some links for you on. There are people who to go into topics like why people ask me why did the blacks sell their own people into slavery. So he takes up that topic and explains that. And he says that black people were not one people. They were a lot of different nations, and they were at war with each other many times. And so if they sold slaves, it was probably the prisoners of war that they took from another tribe. It wasn't their own people. They didn't think of themselves as the blacks. We are the Bantu, and those people are our enemies. And if we sell one of them as slaves, it's not a question of selling one of us blacks, it's selling one of our enemies. They would kill us if they got the chance. So that's one typical video. The guy goes into that in great extent, trying to defeat the notion that black people sold their own brothers into slavery, which is something they did.
Well, it has to do too with power, like power too, power in institutions. A lot of people will betray, I see it in work, depending on how much power you have or you don't have. Depends on how much power you have, how much power you want. Is your life at stake? If you don't, there's a lot of factors that are involved. Me and my mom went to go see The Woman King, which is actually about that situation. I recommend it. It's a great movie. It's about an African tribe, one of the African tribes that fought back out of the slave trade. And what happened there. So all of Andrew, we should go see the Woman King. Oh,
yeah,
fabulous movie. It's probably online now, but that's a movie you're gonna see in theater. Oh,
I want to see it. Oh,
my mom was like, I'm gonna see that 100 times.
Wow. That's a movie.
It's about a woman who becomes king in the African tribe.
That's my kind of movie.
Because she kind of leads the rebellion. But it becomes bloody because remember, white people had guns. We didn't have guns.
Exactly.
How many times are we actually going to say no to these people?
The history book says that the Muslims came down from Morocco and they decided that they were going to take over in Ghana and other places. And the men were very brave and they went out against it with the Segis, and there's just no chance. They were shot dead at a distance of half a mile before they could even get close enough to fight. It was absolutely hopeless for them.
No, the power
But
disparity.
it doesn't mean they were backward or anything like that. Their cultures were very advanced socially and culturally, but they didn't have the technology of, sophisticated metal to make guns. So, but yeah, I understand. One thing you might be interested in, just to make quickly interrupt, is that white people were slaves
Huh?
for a long time before the Caribbean slave trade. That the Ottoman Empire, Ottomans were the Turkish tribe who developed a large empire, including North Africa. The Ottoman pirates of the they used to go and raid Italy and France coast and go into a coastal town, and they would take a few hundred white people, white slaves that were taken by the Ottomans, was equal to the number of black slaves taken to the Caribbean. But it was over a longer period. Slave trade didn't last really as long as the Ottoman pirates. The Barbary coast of North Africa, the Barbary pirates took white slaves for many hundreds of years. Uh, the Ottomans also had such financial superiority that they were able to buy white women from starving white families who would sell their daughters in order to get enough money to live, so that the harems of the Ottomans were supplied with a lot of white women who were slaves. Um, Even Ireland was raided. The pirates got as far as there. They raided a town in Ireland, uh, and they took hundreds of prisoners and chained them and whipped them and took them down to the ships and were taken back to Morocco or Algeria and their slaves there.
I never heard that before.
Yeah, it's not that
I
long.
heard about
No.
the black woman. Why do you think they call us nigger? As we black woman pick cotton. We black woman is the one that pick cotton as a tree. That is why the white man call us nigger. For the argument. I'm still hearing it today.
Well, I think that the whites tried to, uh, when they started taking slaves, you have a farm with two or three whites, families of white kids, and maybe 100 slaves. And they'd be, I guess, terribly afraid that if the slaves ever woke up some morning, they might just go and kill us all. So they tried to make the slaves psychologically dependent by making the slaves feel that they were inferior, that they weren't really human, that God had placed in the slaves. They couldn't be like white people. The white people did that to dominate them because they didn't have enough guns to handle it. If you're a farmer living on an isolated farm, you've got 100 slaves. I don't know, I'd be hard for me to get to sleep at night because they might just come in and slaughter us. And Haiti, in fact, that's what the slaves eventually did. They killed all the white farmers, all the white slave owners, who were massacring their families and their wives, everything. The blacks revolted and they killed them all. Um, and there were a few whites left after finally Dessalines got control of Haiti. And they said, well, we stayed because we trust you and we were friends with you guys before, we weren't slave owners, and we want to cooperate. And they said, well, yes, but when I was a slave, I was treated so badly by whites that I can never forgive you, and so he orders men to kill them all. This was in one of the southern towns where there were a few whites left. Um, and then he went around personally to all the cities of Haiti, and because he'd given an order that all the whites should be killed, but some of the places they weren't doing that because they didn't hate all the whites that bad. It was mainly the plantation owners and the slave drivers. So he had to go to every place and he made sure that they killed all the whites, except that a white woman, if she agreed to marry a black, she could live. But they killed everybody else, men and children.
Oh, pardon me. As a
There was
reminder,
no whites left in Haiti.
you see, I came to Canada at 16. I was in high school. Do you know that when my teacher is not available, she always put on the racist movie? No, it wasn't. I thought airport white slave was the first time heard from you. I was airport us. I watched the movie. I don't remember the movie name. Sometimes I couldn't answer it to come out the class because I was so upset. How the black at the back of the bus because this girl she was going to see her boyfriend, okay, and they never want to let her on the bus, okay. And when she's on the bus, um, I don't know, it's a long time ago to watch this movie because I did not watch it all to see what this black girl had to go through because she's black. Alright? So in today's world, I don't feel comfortable sitting in the front of the bus because I'm a black woman. Even in today's world, I don't feel comfortable. Why we black people have to go at the back of the bus? How
What
rude
if the
was
bus
that?
driver is black? That help?
No, it does bring back anger days. That is why I have so much anger in me. Don't know why you guys hate us so much.
No,
God
we're not
made
you
us.
guys. We're a mixed bag. There's some people who hate you terribly still, but there's a lot of people who, don't care, and there's a lot of people who love you.
Mm.
So, don't kill your friends. There's some whites that are your enemies, but if you've got whites who are your friends, don't kill them. I would suggest it would be a better military strategy to to uh,
Hmm.
try to appreciate those who like you. The United States, for instance, is divided 50-50 between Republicans and Democrats, right up to you can't say that it's a mass, you can't say you guys,
Okay.
because it's at least two groups down there.
Okay.
They're not one solid mass of identical people who all hate blacks.
Mhm.
But there are people on the Republican side who are trying to take away voting rights in this House from black people because they want white supremacy again. They come right out. That's the name of their organization, white supremacists, something like that. They publish on the internet. They want white supremacy again over blacks, the way it used to be.
Eh?
They
No,
want
no.
segregation again.
The guy with the Christmas tree.
Yeah.
So I was looking for a Christmas tree a couple days ago, and I called this guy because we went down first without calling,
Yeah.
and the place was closed, and we were freezing to death.
Mm-hmm.
Andrea had to make the call. She got so mad. She hailed a taxi, and she was like, "No, Michelle, no, no." She's just like, "No, I'm leaving. I can't take this cold anymore." But so I called this guy, and because my phone's not working, he couldn't hear me, right? No, no, I didn't call him. I called. Did I call? Yes, I called, and I remember. Okay, my phone's not working. He said, "Are you open?" Okay, my phone's not working. So he called back about almost 10 times. And he then the last time he called back, and he was really interrupting me being able to get out of the cold. He kept on calling so much that I couldn't do anything else. And then the last call,
Text 9/11.
the last call he said to me, check your messages. Some racist asshole telling me to go back to my country. All this foolishness.
Sister, don't upset me today.
I didn't bring it up at the time because I was freezing cold. Anyway.
How could he say go back to your country? Listen to me now. This is the dog. White men need to behave and respect women because we are black. We are black and God choice. It's not our fault we are black. And black is beautiful.
Yeah. But what I was saying is, love Jimmy Carter. I think the best strategy is not to attack whites as it happens. Not try to form all the blacks together against all the whites, because it's more whites than blacks. And I think the best strategy is to look at guys like Jimmy Carter, love him, support him, help him.
Jimmy who?
Jimmy Carter, former president of the United States.
I don't know who's that.
No.
I live in Canada. I don't know what to say.
Politics and racism are two different things.
Wait a minute. I'm sorry.
You're conflating them, Claire.
I'm in Canada.
Jimmy Carter is the former president of the United States who was very helpful for blacks.
Hmm?
Yeah.
I wouldn't know that.
Okay, well, I do. And I'm just giving it as an example. I guess I could find examples in Canada too of people who would support you. And that if you just turn against all whites, you're going to be turning against a lot of your friends.
I
And
don't, I
it won't
don't,
be that good for you.
I'm not against white. I love white, man. I'm not against white. I wouldn't be against white, man. You know how much I love you guys? Yeah? You know how much I love white, man? I didn't want to marry to white. Okay, stand there. I'm not against you guys. Never. We are all God's children. He made us in His own
And that's the
image.
thing, our black mentality is not, I don't know, I don't want to say, we don't think the way that white people do
Mhm.
when it comes to just,
My caseworker is white too. Hey, it's not something. Eh? My caseworker is a white woman.
when it comes to domination, like, I think white people can be very fixated on dominating,
Hmm.
and,
This one's natural to us.
and
We're so
for,
busy struggling with each other that we're tough. We have shells, and we're always, fighting. So that
But
if you run
black
into somebody
people
who is a little
are more
vulnerable,
more
then something-
active in thinking about the divine, about the spiritual world,
Mhm.
about, that's what we focus on. Our focus is very much on that, and not what you physically see,
like the early Christians.
and the
They didn't have a
domination.
chance against the Romans.
So, but white people are very, very much fixated on who they can dominate and what they can dominate. And black people always have this consciousness that somebody is watching me right now. I better just do the right thing with the time that I have right here.
Mhm.
And it's a different um, how should I say, theological background. It's just a different way of approaching the world. So when a black person sees a white person, they just see a person.
Yeah,
They
you're
just
a
see,
beautiful person.
we just see a person. But when a white person
Yeah.
sees somebody, it's a totally different thing. I don't even I can't be in their minds. I don't know what they see. But judging by what comes out of their mouth,
Uh-huh.
I'm just like,
I think I will do with them.
you guys' minds are just corrupted. Like, what is wrong with you? Like, what is wrong with
But you
you
know, why
people?
we're not here no more? Father God is in everything. So he's a judge already. So he makes everybody in his look at
And
my
that's the
skin.
thing. We
Look,
have to
look.
have mercy and we have to forgive.
But
And
yes,
that's what we are here to do. That's what are called to do.
Yep.
And so we do, and we just forgive and forgive and forgive and forgive and forgive and forgive and forgive.
Mm-hmm.
And but what else? If we believe in God, what else can we do?
Exactly.
But do you think that among the white slaves in the Barbary Coast of the Ottomans, do you think that in their society that they would have developed similar mentality to white blacks here?
Sorry?
Do you think that the whites who were slaves in Africa, in their communities, would they have developed attitudes similar to what you?
Divine rather than physical? No, because the way that white people think is so like they are this world system. That's what Babylon, like when Jamaicans say Babylon system, like the current system that we're in is the I don't want to say they're so systematic. It's like for me, I'm utilitarian. I'm very utilitarian. So if something doesn't have use in my life or I can't use it or I can't do something with it right now, I almost forget it. you know? And so that's where I'm coming from. So that directs all of my behavior because I'm so utilitarian. If I'm not using it right now, it is absolutely forgotten. Um, with the way the culture, with white culture, is very centralized on dominion. So they would always be thinking about how can we dominate. It would be if it was white people instead of black people who had been slaves, it would be a lot more sinister because what would happen is the white people would have, definitely it would be kind of like a Roman thing, overpowered, just found a way to completely dominate and do exactly what the black people were doing without thought of the moral implications of what they're doing, but more about, well, how can we dominate, you know? Where with black people, what keeps them back in life is because they keep on thinking about the moral implications all the time and just completely taking over, you know, just completely trying to dominate.
Um, yeah,
Oh, excuse me. Next time? Excuse me. I
this
just
is
have
always on. Um, there were the Maccabees that you probably heard of, who established the Jewish kingdom independent. They got free of the Seleucids, the descendants of Alexander. Um, and the Jews were really something. I mean, they were fighting the Arabs and winning, and they had their Messiah idea and all that. And they were the chosen people. But then it didn't work out. The Romans came along and they totally subjugated the Jews. And the Jewish attitude kind of had to change. Rather than being temple oriented with this great, like Muslim mass of a fighting nation, it had to change from that to our salvation is not the nation overpowering the world. Our salvation has now got to be within ourselves. We have got to spiritually succeed in our relationship with God, but we are no longer in a position like the Maccabees to stand up to these guys. We cannot, we have no chance. They tried and they got totally wiped out in 66 AD, and the temple was destroyed and all that.
So the change was a strategy.
It's a psychological strategy. They had to
It's a
change
strategy.
from the empire domination type Messiah. They had to change from that to a personal salvation, a personal relationship with God. Instead of the big temple and the high priest and all the ceremonies and the sacrifices and all that, that was all gone. The temple was just ashes and rubble. And so they had left their rabbis, the old Pharisees, and they had to develop a new way of thinking about themselves.
No, but it's just you. That could be strategic change. That's a possibility. But the thing is, just on an experiential level, when you have an experience with a black person versus a white person, your experience with a black person is meant to be very personal, very there's very different ways of thinking, and you can they're almost palpable, but not quite because we don't have the language yet. Um, but it's just the way that let me see. It's not a power struggle with with a lot of white people, everything is always a power struggle. And they're always looking for ways to be powerful. But where I find with a lot of other cultures, it's just, and I can't even say that one is right and one is wrong. With other cultures, you don't get that sense of status when you come to uh, I guess yeah. What you get is this with white people is this underlying thinking of status, like who's higher, who's better, who's over this person, over that, or but with black people now, you just have a statusless environment where like we're just you're just my friend, brother man, brother this, brother that, and brother this, and oh my, I'm gonna take care of your man, and let me, it's not a status saying, oh, I am from the Welland shores of the dynamite holes, and we have an accent like this. There's even like status within the status, and it's hard to break through that with white people because it's so much all they got, But with black people, it's just like, no, one love, one heart. Let's get together and feel all right. Let's just be together. Forget about your accent. Leave it. Pick it up. Do whatever you want with it. You know. But it's not about that. It's not about your status. So the 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 kingdoms of this world. I think that's the name of a book. I think white people could be very fixated on the kingdoms of this world rather than a relationship with a person, and that's why if white people had been slaves because of their focus on the kingdoms of this world, it would be it would have just turned around to exactly what it was, to what it actually was, because that's the way that white people think. So that's the way that it happened, that black people were slaves and white people were, because that's the way that it's like, that's how the sand graduated, and things separated inside of that's how the dust settled, because that's exactly what it is. It's just very telling of how white people think. They think about this hierarchy almost all the time. A lot. My sociology said would say one-upmanship and stuff like that. Um, but when you're not coming from that framework, if you almost have nowhere to go, because the other person is coming from a framework of this one-upmanship, and this other person is not even fighting in that game. So this person will always be down, and this person will always be up because they're constantly thinking about how I can be the best and how I can. And this person's just not even thinking about that. They don't even. They're they're not they're not in that rat race, And so, um, yeah. Hence the course, power and institutions, right? It's like, but it comes down to psychology because however you're thinking, that's how you're going to act. So, and Jesus talked a lot about that. My kingdom, the heavenly kingdom, is not like that, where one person will rule over the other. In my kingdom, whoever's greatest serves the other, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So, but I think that's the way. That's the reason why it happened. Slavery happened because that's the way that white people think. That's literally how they think. They think about power and domination, like it all time, and it just kind of rules their minds. It's just the status thing.
Was Ethiopia before colonization connected? For example, became connected over many surrounding countries in Africa, and they took a lot of the slaves, and it was a big part of that. It was incredibly brutal. But he's gone.
Because he was trying to follow the. Was it? This was. I'm trying to remember exactly.
1200s, 1300s, something like that.
This was the one who took over. Who took over the white people? Who? Hold on. There was one. I have to remember what his name was. Oh, he was from the kingdom of this world, actually, in that book. Um,
Different for the white
so
people.
what happens is, so I know you're talking about history, and I understand, but I'm trying to get to the underpinnings of the mentality.
How it is in Canada today.
I'm talking about the underpinnings of the thinking, and so a lot of
Thinking in Canada is today.
a lot of black people could try to think like a white person and try to do that, but it falls to the ground. It falls short because they don't really care about those things at the end of the day. It's not about a power struggle for them. At the end of the day, it's not their aim, it's not their goal, it's not what they meditate on all the time. Whereas with white people, that's all they think about. How can they dominate?
Hmm.
I have to get back to that. I'm sorry about the tips and that, but thank you very, very much. I really enjoyed you filling me in on why you're so angry. Um, and I continue to think about it, and if I can, I'll make a list of the links that I mentioned to Andrea of good YouTube videos on Africa. Once I
Okay.
learn to it. They're mostly made by Africans. There's a lady who did a whole series on African civilizations, like black lady in Africa, to try to build up their sense of community, their sense of self-respect, and so on, to bring back to them their history. Because American blacks that's completely severed by the slavery, they have no sense of who their grandparents were. I can trace back my family quite a long way. Transgenerations, so black people have had that
Oh,
privilege. Huh?
openness trace back.
Oh, well, the
Huh?
Mormons help, and the marriage records and the birth records and the death records and the family albums and so on. That I can easily go back to a couple of generations in Ireland, but at one point there was a huge fire that burned the public archives of Ireland, and so your researchers can't go that past that because all the birth, marriage records are lost because the building burned down. So the documents. But in England, you can go way, way back because that didn't happen. So on the mother's side, which is thinking about Ireland, my sister's gone. But black people can't, who were slaves can't do that because they were just chopped up. But black people in Africa were interrupted by colonization, but still they can go back to before what it was like, how they can respect themselves, how they can see what the African civilizations were before the white people came and that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's when this lady did the series of histories of Africa on various African personalities, all parts of Africa, Cleopatra or down to South Africa. So I will try to get you a link. If you just find one of her episodes, there will be links in it to
Just
all
put
the
it
others.
on my cell phone because it's to my cell phone. Have a number, right?
Send it by cell phone?
Yeah.
Okay.
Have a number,
It's hard
right?
for me to send links by cell phone because my cell phone's not that smart. And I have
Eh?
to type in each character, and the keyboard is like, a very primitive one, so that it's quite but I will do it. It's much easier for me to send emails with that sort of information than text. I can't transfer things to the text side from my computer. It just all has to be typed in, one letter at a time. But I'll try, Andy. That's interesting that you want to know that. And I also have a book. I think I'll lend it for you, but
Oh,
the
no,
last
no,
two copies of the book that I
no,
lent,
no, no.
people never returned it. It's such a
Stop,
good book.
stop.
It doesn't come back.
Sorry, no more than books. No. I'm
Little
cleaning up
thin
my
book.
place. I'm cleaning up my place. No more than books. No. I don't trust myself
Okay,
anymore.
that's good. I want to hang on to it. I'm afraid to loan it now because the
Don't.
last two times I loaned it, it never came back.
Yeah.
I have your present. I just have to wrap it and.
Oh, okay. Well,
So
it
maybe
doesn't- no
we'll.
rush.
Can we do it tomorrow? And
Sure,
if-
I don't
is-
want Christmas to be stressed. I want
is
Christmas to
is
be
Anna
practice
able to
and
come
relaxation.
tomorrow? How can we? Can her wheelchair fit past here? We make a clear space. We wear N191s, and I spray down the whole place, and then we'll make a clear path here.
But
Yeah.
early, you could show me good stuff.
I want her to
If
see
you
the
come, we're
tree.
gonna
I want to see her to see the tree, and then
Yeah, I'm
maybe
wearing
take
my
a
mask.
picture by the tree. And Divine and Nicholas will be by tomorrow, and they'll have the N191 because they need a box, so I'll use that from that box. The other one.
Oh, but first of all, if you have an emergency, you can't call 911. Can you text to 911? Will they respond to text message?
They're almost there. They're not quite there yet, but I've been listening to some lectures. They're almost there. They can
Well, if your
almost do.
responsibility, you better get a phone then, so you can, if the kids have a problem or something like that, you can call 911.
Yeah. Okay. Dad has. Can I have a hug, please? One day I have to give you a massage. Yeah, one day. You gotta eat some more food, man. The back it always gives you a later back. Right?
Thanks for that. It's so much. It's the first thing I want to hear.
You put a lot of stress on your back because of
I guess you think
if you open your probably scared. Andrea probably
well, really Christmas night. When you're sort of on the edge to serve Christmas. So, if I get a child, I'll give it my wife, I'll give it my food, and if you have nothing else to do,
stress is that the relationship with the spirit is harder to reading and it's hard as far as the book learning what the right thing, what the right thing.
Then you move your back. Up. Okay. Okay. Andrea, do you know what to do? What I have to do? I'm just thinking, and when I was here, I was just saying, white people and their dirty, stinking ways. Okay, the way that they think is just messed up.
But I never heard of white slaves. Is it something? I'm not
It's
stupid.
definitely it's not on the scale. It's not definitely. It's not even close to the scale
Are you kidding me?
of what black people went through. It's not even. Doesn't even touch the surface.
White slave, please.
But that's the way they think, and that's
Hmm.
so they gotta get out of that. If they gotta get out of that stinking thinking. That stinking thinking. Jesus said no.
Hmm.
That's not the system that is in the kingdom of God.
Oh. I.
In the kingdom of God, it's not like that.
This is why I don't like to go on bus. I'm a bit anchored now on the bus. My anchor is just getting worse now. I don't like taking bus in the bus. And I'm sitting in front of the bus and feel weird now. You know, we take a sleep with God for the order. Seven says, I just trying to peace my mind, okay?
Huh?
I just trying to peace my mind. I don't know if you want to come around. If I'm not going to be here tomorrow, sis, I don't know if you want to come around, okay? But I don't like you to move to me like I have disease. And I'm going to be honest, I'm still angry. Stop pushing Ted and Anna. I want you, if you pass on, don't blame me. It doesn't work to work on the people mouth. That's a big, that's a God will. If you come in here, I can't come. If you want me to come in here, I'm staying home. I'm not going to be here. I'm staying home. You will insult me. No, sis. I'm not coming here, sis, okay?
Do you have one last thing before we turn off the video? Anything nice? Jesus is nice. Jesus, Jesus didn't do this to you.
No.
And that's the thing. I love history, but people use history and the knowledge of history for power, to sound sophisticated and stuff like that. But it's like, forget about your history. Jesus is the future.
Amen.
We are just leaving the past behind us, my friend, and we are going from glory. We're going to better and greater things. We are going to a different kind of life. Okay, we're going to be in Jesus, and that is it. All right, we're not going to talk about this from 1972 or that from 77 da 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 or whatever. I'm just making updates.
Oh, okay.
But like, not that I don't want you to look up the history of what God has to show you, but those are just power tricks that people use in order to sound powerful in conversation.
Oh, you still haven't feel like why not listen to him? My caseworker don't blink and listen when I talk. I had this like here. This is my caseworker. Okay? I like it.
Because, well, no.
Oh, I'm talking to myself. When I'm talking to my blinking life, I'm talking to myself when I'm talking to my caseworker in a mall. I'm listening. Yeah, my cat hear me now. You're talking, you're doing something else, that means you're hearing me.
So, Merry Christmas. We have a lot of problems, but on Christmas, thank God, we just think about Jesus and why are people able to come together on Christmas, regardless of creed or color or this and that or whatever history? Because the past is behind us, and we are going to a Jesus future. We are not businessing. We are not interested in the color of somebody's skin or strategies to be dominant or this, that, and the third. We're interested in how can we be together? How can we have a good time together? So peace, love, and harmony. I love the hippies. I don't know. Some people say that it's a bad word. I would love to be cool enough for somebody to call me a hippie. That would be cool. But, the hippies had a lot of things right. They had the drugs wrong, but they had the mentality right. Right? So, Andrea, say something, please. End us off here.
Ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't matter how I feel. I'm with my sister and I have the best Christmas, celebrating Jesus' birthday together, coming together, celebrating. This is Jesus' birthday yesterday.
We want to see Jesus lifted higher, a banner that flies across the land, so others may see the truth and know He is the way to heaven. We want to see, we want to see, we want to see Jesus lifted high. We want to see Jesus. We want to see Jesus. We want to see Jesus lifted high. We want to see Jesus lifted higher, a banner that flies across the land, so others may see the truth and know He is the way to heaven. We want to see Jesus. We want to see Jesus. We want to see Jesus lifted. Don't you know that song? We want to see. Oh, we want to see. We want to see Jesus lifted high. Step by step, we're moving forward. Little by little, we're taking ground. Every path and powerful way. Strongholds come tumbling down and down and down and down. We want to see Jesus Jesus lifted higher, abandon the flies across the land, so others may see the truth and know that He is the way to heaven. We wanna see
Jesus,
we wanna see
Jesus,
we wanna see Jesus lifted high.
higher.
We wanna see
Jesus,
wanna see
Jesus,
we wanna see Jesus lifted
high. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Father God. Thank you for
The
this day.
first Noel, the angels did say, on a poor winter's night, that was the day, while tending their sheep. You know what?
I don't know.
The word, nothing in life will stump you more than Christmas carols. I have known so many professional singers who cannot, even Kofi Danzo, everybody was stumbling over the words.
Oh my God. I got to practice.
No, even in it's just too many different words, too many different too many
Oh,
verses. You can't
right.
remember it all.
You know, it's better for one person to sing it then.
No, they had to have each person had to take a different verse
Oh,
to remember it because the verses are so long.
oh,
You can't remember it. You can't memorize it.
Man. Ooh, yikes. I wouldn't know what it is.
I'll let you watch their Christmas one. You'll be laughing. They had to pick up the paper. They had to pick up the paper and put it in front of them because, and then and everybody was stumbling over the words.
Oh, Joy. For real? Okay, Daddy, forgive me if I laugh. To laugh right now. Oh, Joy, that's bad.
Okay, here we go. The first Noel, the angels did say.
Oh,
Can you see it?
yes. Let me see. Oh, did it say? Oh, I thought it was sing. The first Noel, the angels did say,
Was to certain poor shepherds in fields as they lay. In fields they lay, well keeping their sheep on a cold winter's night that was so deep. Noel, 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 born is the King of Israel. They looked up and saw a star shining in the east beyond them far, and to the earth is giving great light. So it and so it continue both day and night. Noel, 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 Noel. Born is the King of Israel, and by the light of that same star, 3 wise men came from country afar to seek for a king was their intent, and to follow the star wherever it went.
Noel, 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 Noel. Born is the King of Israel. This star drew nigh to the northwest. Over Bethlehem it took its rest, and there did fall, pause and did stay, right o'er the place where Jesus lay. Noel, 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 Noel. Born is the King of Israel. Then let us all with one accord sing praises to our heavenly Lord, that has made heaven and earth of naught, and with his blood mankind has bought. Noel, 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 Noel. Born is the King of Israel. Noel, 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 Noel. Born is the King of Israel. Born is the King. Born is the King of Israel. Whoa. Oh. Okay. You have a good eyesight than mine. I singing, I'm like, where is this? Because you put a finger to your guide, like, where are you? That's a,
Oh, that's why when I put it like so, you could only see that was always the last line. So I was going like that.
no, because sometimes you put your hands, your finger there, I'm like, we know where you is, but like, I slowed up, I said, where is this? I look like, wow, sister. And the phone on the charge again.
My phone never really got charged, but my phone does not work. I have to say sorry for everybody who I didn't really call because every time I was like, Divine, call Grandpa. Divine, call this person. Call. He
Oh, you
wasn't
got
called.
grandpa.
Oh, he
And
did.
they say if your grandpa is doing grandpa things, look like he wasn't home. He must be with friends out.
Doing Grandpa.
Your son too funny. Yeah, you call him grandpa and say, grandpa is doing grandpa things. That means that his grandpa not available. But you
Okay.
can't call, if you call, you don't call him when you get him, call him an hour later.
Mhm.
I don't call him once, see? I call again before then. Oh, you're home. Oh, I'm just coming, But I said I don't have his number. They kind of believe me. Oh, you be careful
Okay.
with that stuff in nose
I didn't
and
know.
tongue.
I. I didn't know that he had called. He didn't tell me.
Well, communication is a key of
And then my
life.
aunt Jeanette, she called, but if I called back, what I couldn't, and she doesn't have a texting. So,
Man, come on now.
Merry Christmas, Aunt Jeanette. I can't call anybody to tell them unless they have Facebook. Everybody needs to get Facebook Messenger. This is the free way to call people. Don't tell Facebook, okay?
Thank you.
But like,
It's
some people say WhatsApp, but the problem with WhatsApp is there's less likely people to have WhatsApp than there is to have. And I don't know. The site is just it's just different, you know. And
yeah.
sometimes your calls cut off with WhatsApp. It's not that reliable,
Yeah, it's the
and it cuts out and cuts in, you know.
yeah, I think it's the it depends on how far we are from each other, right?
I don't know.
Because it happened to me.
Reception is not that
Yeah,
great.
it's not.
So
That's what I meant to say.
so yeah, messenger is where it's at. But yeah, I hope you guys, you know, understand that it is a miracle. This is the Christmas miracle. Is Jesus Christ? He came here, and there was a lot of trouble. There's a lot of problems just getting him here. Poor Mary.
Mm.
She, she's having God's son, and just problem after problem after problem after problem. And one thing about Mary, you don't see her getting discouraged. Maybe it's not written in the Bible, and maybe she didn't get discouraged at all.
Maybe she
Maybe
did.
she did, and it just doesn't isn't it's
But
not
they're not
written.
gonna put it.
But I'm thinking to myself like, okay, God, you told me to give birth to your child, and I don't have anywhere to give birth. You know, but that's not what she just kept on in faith, and many times we don't have. So this is shows you to fulfill God's purpose. It's not about material things. Because if it was about material things, oh, she's blessed by God, so that baby would have been born in a palace somewhere, and on a golden bed made of golden sheets, and that if material gain meant godliness, then that's what it would be. But material gain is not godliness.
No, it's not.
So
Humanly. Material stuff come from us human. That is God.
I'm gonna take off this stove.
Oh, you're kicking not screaming. You must have-
Oh, I didn't close the top. It's fine.
Oh. Yes, so it's, it's, Christmas was about Christ, and that's why it's important to come together and with family and friends to give thanks to Christ and his birthday. So when Christ, everybody coming together, and his day is having joy in heaven watching us. I know it's not in heaven; it's everywhere in a way. In the midst of us, is everywhere. So somewhere online,
Yeah.
I'm sorry to ask you first. Yeah, so that the God is everywhere. It does have to give thanks to Him in many ways. Grateful. Sis, make the best dinner. And that's to God.
Okay. Enough about Jesus. No, I'm just joking. Jesus,
No,
Jesus
no.
in me made a lot of dishes. Jesus,
Amen. Yes.
God made a lot of dishes. Okay, so
Father God.
ratatouille.
What do you?
Um, and the thing is, I played it. I put it out so nice. Wasn't the table nice? And I
Yes.
didn't. I never put it out. I was making sure I don't want to put any silver type of like those cheap silver tins that you get at whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't want to have any of that, and I did the table so nice. But you know what? I didn't take any picture.
Oh,
I was like,
wait. You was taking the picture when the sun interrupt. You was showing everybody what you make when the sun interrupt, and I find that very rude and disrespect.
welcome to my son. Okay,
No, I don't. That's not that. No, no.
so
Children, boys, listen to me.
I'm gonna
Respect your parents.
try to remember what I made. Okay, so there was this. I'll tell you what didn't turn out. I don't think you can ruin the chuck beef. It's not good. It has because the paper that they told me to use, the wax paper,
Yeah.
I could taste the flavor of that in the meat. It ruined it. It ruined it.
Oh my.
It ruined it.
What?
It's still nice and tender and soft the way it's supposed to be, but the flavor in it is kind of mechanical. Does it taste like a taste? Okay,
I don't think
maybe I
that.
might give the whole thing to you because I can't eat it. And then the turkey came out exactly like butter.
Always. Oh, that's that. Your make turkey so good.
The turkey was good. I like the turkey.
What kind of turkey was it? Butter turkey?
It did, but the seasoning that I did like the sweet and sour.
Mm.
I still seasoned it. Just with sweet and sour, and that was good for me.
That turkey is so nice. You see, I want I said, let me just something. You ever
Oh, the butter ground beef. The butter. Did you taste that?
macaroni?
No, butter ground beef.
I don't know.
The butter ground beef turned out amazing.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What a funky.
That's what Nicholas had the mashed potato and butter ground beef.
I couldn't finish it.
But they didn't taste good together. Because I tasted them together and I was like, ugh. But apart, very good.
Okay, you know what? Everybody's taste bud is different. Everybody complaining this is taste good, that is taste good. To me, I'm in heaven. Okay?
Macaroni pie.
Nice.
No, I should have put need more salt. I only put salt in the mushroom. 'Cause I put mushrooms in my macaroni pie
Yeah.
just to kick it up, give it some fiber, kick it up a notch. It's not just all starch.
But
And I needed more salt. I needed more, even maybe more cheese, maybe a whole other brick of cheese.
so what's wrong with my taste bud?
I,
It tastes good to me.
what you really liked was the callaloo.
Oh, don't talk about callaloo. I love callaloo.
You
Well,
like the callaloo.
everybody
The
says
rice,
it's
I looked the
healthy.
rice. Yes, it is healthy. It's very healthy. It has that my callaloo had kale in it. It had the
Oh,
spinach. It has the okra. It has
did you what?
okra. Sorry.
Ew, this,
Okay, fine. It doesn't have that.
are you serious?
Okay, so what else? I like the rice. I like the
I love the rice, it's healthy. No, sis. I tasted, sorry, my manners. I tasted the callaloo. I don't know.
that was Doug's recipe of ratatouille from his mom. So I liked it. It did turn out very nice. I like the ratatouille, which is all vegetables,
Dog. I'm sorry, forgive me.
and then the eggplant
Oh,
with tomato and that wasn't your cup of tea. No. And then there was the sweet potato, which I don't really like, but there's plenty of it, so I got to get
sister,
Doug to take some.
are you kidding me? What's the matter with you?
That I don't like sweet potato.
It tastes nice. You not even know what I'm doing because it's a diet.
The gravy turned out nice. I like the gravy.
Okay. If it's not, I don't know. I don't see nothing wrong with what Father God put in it. Because every Christmas and Thanksgiving, this I have to be careful for me eating. I was like, eat on your food so nice and stuff. I was like, okay, you know what, Andrea, just one little bit more and that's it. I had to stop eating. Okay? Because the food is so delicious.
The cornbread was okay.
Bread. What was it?
There was the muffins.
Oh Lord mercy. Sister,
Mm.
and honestly, I didn't know it was cornbread.
I can't remember everything that I made.
I know, I
Can you
know.
remember anything else?
I
I
was
know. Oh,
sleeping.
there was
The mashed potatoes, it's
and
nice.
Brussels sprout. You guys forgot about the Brussels sprouts. Brussels sprout.
Oh, it's nice.
Oh, you had some.
Yeah, what's the wait? Where is it? I put it there, and it's beautiful. You're gonna make me love it. You're making me love it more.
Brussels sprout. Oh, a Greek bean dish. We had like I added mushrooms in it. Remember the beans, the beans.
Yes,
Um,
so
no,
much to remember. Oh my gosh! But you were telling everybody, and the divine is in a rush to turn it off. And I don't like that. I did not appreciate
mercy,
that.
mercy, mercy, mercy.
I must go home,
But
man.
for the mercy, oh.
I must
I
go.
almost went home too. I almost went home too.
No, you was here.
Wow,
No, I must go home because I don't like this in
insulting
yes to his mom in front of me and my mom. Like I must go home. Sis. I was this close to you know what this is fine. I could behave like that to his mom. Let me just go home. I'm not gonna eat anything here. Eh? This is you have to talk to your son about his behavior. Make it to this is not his home anymore. And even if it was his home, they have to respect you. You have to done and you have no right to touch it.
Okay, anyways, bye everybody.
Oh, sorry.
I hope you had a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. See you in the New Year's.